Our last talk tonight is Susan Bryan from Washtenaw County, and she's going to be talking about rain gardens and other things you can do in your yard. So take it away, Susan.
Thanks so much. I just to follow up on what Eric Calabra was talking about, and I was fascinated by his presentation. I feel like I want to see the end, but we have those two aquatic planting work days, and we only I don't Eric Elgin didn't emphasize how cutting edge that practice is of wrapping up the aquatic plant in a little piece of burlap with a stone, and then people just toss it into the water, and you try to toss it into the water where it's not too deep. And it worked beautifully. People had a great time. And if anyone wants to come to our volunteer day, learn how to do it, and then do it at your lake, find out where people got the plants. I think it was Wild Type where we bought the plants, and then do it at your lake. You could totally do that. We'd love to spread the word because it is really a cutting edge process. All right, I'll share my screen. We'll talk about rain gardens. Eric and Eric had beautiful photos of lakes, and I will also have some beautiful photos of lakes. This is from Eric Calabra's story map. He probably just added this photo, and I was just like, oh, living the dream on a lake. So beautiful, especially in the wintertime when you can just see the water. I love it. Today was beautiful, but on a lake, every day is beautiful. And spring is coming. So if you're a gardener, you're thinking about what could you plant? Nugget and her husband here this is at one of our native plant sales that we host, and they're getting ready for spring and thinking about everything they can plant. And why not plant a rain garden? A rain garden can be just as beautiful as any other flower bed that you have on your property. It can really make things look gorgeous. And a rain garden takes that water from your house and soaks it into the ground. That's what makes it a rain garden. But before that happens, I have to talk about a lot of disgusting things. Eric and Eric had beautiful photos of lakes, but no, this is my boss taking a photo of the gross stuff on the ground when it snows and it turns into slush and it's black, all that gross stuff. Where does it go? Where does it go? Well, the snow melts, and this is me in my free time taking photos of what is left after the snow melts. This is sediment, is what it's known in scientific circles. And then it rains. And then where does it go? All the disgusting things that are on, especially a hard surface like concrete or your roof or the street, all those things, all those gross, or even grass, really. Water really sort of just washes off of grass. It washes all this into, brace yourself. This is actually Lake Michigan, so it's not an inland lake. It's not small. The Grand River has a huge area that it drains into Lake Michigan, but on a small scale, this happens everywhere. So even if like the gravel road or the gravel driveway drains into the lake, sediment gets into the lake. And that's not what we want. We do not want that. This non-point source pollution is what it's called, is the biggest source of pollution in our lakes. Now, and you can see it from space. Yuck! Ew! Okay, but no, we will not let this happen. We will build rain gardens, and we will not let pollution get into our lakes. And people are really doing it. This is Washtenaw County and a little bit of Livingston County. But if you zoom out on this map, and I'm going to show you this map in a little bit, you will see how many people have built rain gardens. I only keep track in Southeast Michigan, but I'm sure people are doing it all over. And I'll put a link. If you have a rain garden and you want to add it to the map, you really should, because you can scroll around and your neighbors can scroll around and be like, oh, look at that pretty garden. Maybe I should plant a rain garden. Okay, so back to what is a rain garden? So the reason why a rain garden works is instead of I'm not sure you can see my cursor, but instead of the water from the roof going down the driveway, taking all the oils from the car and the heavy metals from the brake pads and blah, 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 into the road, into the gutter, and then into a pipe, into the river or the lake, or it could be a ditch. In the country, it's often a ditch that goes right into the lake. Instead of doing that, having it go into your yard and into a shallow garden that has plants. And it could be a tree, could be a shrub. Here it's flowers, could be any of those things. And that's what helps the water slow down and soak into the ground. And that's what we're looking for. That's the gold standard is water soaking into the ground. That's what nature did before we started paving paradise. And that's what we want to get back to. And it's okay. Like a rain garden, it's not only just soaking in what the rain that falls on it, it's soaking in so much from the roof, and it's fine. It can do that double duty, triple duty. I mean, like there's a limit, but it can do that double duty and it will function correctly. So let's look at some rain gardens. I collected some of the rain gardens that are on my map, on the rainscaping map. This is Kay Wilson and her husband Dan Barry, and they're on Half Moon Lake, which is in southeast Michigan. Beautiful lake. He's an architect, so this is maybe slightly more fancy than your typical rain garden. You can see the corrugated metal on the left, and that is a basin where this is where this architecture gets fancy. There's a scupper, which is on the roof of the garage, which shoots like the water basically like tumbles down off the scupper into this basin, and then the basin overflows into the rain garden. So it's super fancy. Anyway, you don't need that part. All you need is the garden itself. And the water flows into this garden and it soaks into the ground and it feeds, this is the cool part, feeds the groundwater that then slowly, slowly, slowly feeds the lake. By the time it gets there, it is cold, it is clean, it is clear, and it's the way nature used to do it. Okay, so here's how he designed it. And I teach the Master Rain Gardener class, and we teach you how to do this whole process, like how to design it yourself so that it's beautiful the way you want it. This is his drawing. You can see there's like steps going from the house to the garage. That garden, shade garden, that's going to be the rain garden. On the left is before, and it's, it's okay. But, there's a lot of utilities there and things like that. On the right is he's digging it out himself, actually. And then there it is, all planted, all finished, all done. Let's visit another rain garden. Remember where this rain garden is. I might circle back. After I teach you, I'm going to teach you the rules of rain gardens. He broke one, and I want you to think about which one it was. So, as it turns out, it's okay because he, made sure it was okay. But which rule did he break? All right. So another rain garden. Interesting that Eric Calabro showed Portage Lake. This is also Portage Lake, same lake. This is the south side. And Scarlett Bennett planted a beautiful rain garden quite a while ago. It's still functioning, still a beautiful garden. This is the first year actually of that garden. And she put in, are a bunch of native perennials in there, but she also put in annuals. Why not? Let's make it fun. Let's make it beautiful. Then, and one of the reasons she put in her garden is she was having a lot of flooding in her yard, as did her neighbors. Like the whole neighborhood, the yard would be a few inches of water. So this is a couple of years later, the water's still pooling, but those plants are starting to mature. They're starting to get bigger. And also like she planted more perennials instead of just annuals. So it starts to function better. And so this water starts to soak in faster and faster. This is a few years later. The garden would fill up 2 hours later, soaked in because it functions so well. It just unlike architecture or engineering, when you plant a rain garden, it gets better and better and functions better over time. So the older the rain garden is, the better. Why? Well, it's the job of a plant to soak in that water. The native plants especially are growing their deep roots, letting the water soak in, and creating all those little holes that even in the wintertime lets the water soak in. And then they're also evapotranspiring water into the atmosphere. So doing a really good job. You can see on the right, there's Kentucky bluegrass. So that's why lawns don't soak in water very well. It's not their fault. It's just that their roots are too short. And we use this photo actually of Scarlett's rain garden on Portage Lake on our postcards. Like it's so beautiful. Also, a rain garden does not have to be big. I just want to point out Terry Henning's rain garden. All the other landscaping is just normal landscaping. No rain garden is happening except for that little edge around her tree bed. That's the rain garden. That's what's capturing the water. So if you didn't put a sign, if you didn't put up a like rain garden sign, you wouldn't know. It's just landscaping. Here's Graciela Rubaclava showing her rain garden. It's the paisley shaped garden in front of her house. The rest is foundation plantings, not rain gardens. This is the rain garden. So it can be beautiful. It can be a gorgeous shape. It can be small. It can reflect your taste. Now that I know of, there are more than 2,000 rain gardens uh, in um, in Michigan, and we're really proud of them. I superimposed this number on the Saline District Library rain garden because it was looking so beautiful, and it's taken care of by two volunteers actually, and they're just doing a lovely job. How does what does a rain garden do, and how does it function? And let's dig a little deeper here. Okay, so it's a bed that instead of being a raised bed, it's a lowered bed and it lets the water puddle there. Often it solves other problems. I mean, there's this big environmental problem that it is a powerhouse, it's the gold standard, it does a great job, but it can also solve other drainage issues. For instance, this is EMU's, Eastern Michigan University's housing, one of their family housing complexes, and this is a courtyard. So there's buildings on all four sides, and the lawnmowers would always get stuck in here because the downspouts put the water right here in the courtyard. There's nowhere else for it to go. But by putting rain gardens, the water goes in the rain garden. The lawn stays high and dry. The mowers can mow. Everyone's happy. Can really help with that sort of thing. Also, it attracts birds and butterflies. All these photos are taken by master rain gardeners of wonderful habitat that they have and animals and critters that they've seen in their yards, hummingbirds. Just a wonderful thing. That's on cardinal flower, the hummingbird there. And cardinal flower is pretty hard to grow actually outside of a rain garden, but in a rain garden in clay, loves it. Rain garden on clay, cardinal flower. It's a real treat. All you need is to shape that garden, and then you can see the green pipe. You put your downspout into the rain garden, voila, rain garden. And this photo I like because it really shows how you shape the garden so that it catches that water. So without this garden, the water would just flow over the grass to that driveway, down the driveway into the street, into the pipe, to the river. But with the rain garden, it basically just catches like a catcher mitt, like a catcher, like a catcher's mitt that you can see that the berm there stops the water, slows it down, and then the plants are so happy because they have extra water. I think the berm he just planted, so that's why they're not growing on the berm as much. But I like the photo because it really shows the berm, so that's nice. Lori Sprague and Dexter, so happy about her rain garden, probably because her teenage sons dug it for her. So, like Tom Sawyer, she's thrilled. But also it captures the water from her driveway, which is harder to do. But she had a long country driveway, and she was able to capture that water right here in her yard before it went into the road ditch. So good job, Lori. It can also, we have this top of mind right now where the ice is on the sidewalk where we're trying, or maybe on our driveway or on our walkway where we're trying to walk and there's ice. And well, how can a rain garden catch that? Well, this is actually a picture of my neighbor's house. The water from that downspout goes into a pipe and then pops out right where the blue arrow is. And the water goes onto the sidewalk. And they're out there all the time chopping that ice. I feel really badly for them, actually, because they don't want anyone to slip. No one slipped in the making of this slide. But if they ever ask my advice, that hedge could be a rain garden hedge. And then they wouldn't have as much water. on their sidewalk and they wouldn't have to be out there chopping ice as often. So it can often solve other problems or water in the basement. This is the classic where in this yard, the water or the land was sloped towards the house. That's not the way it should be. Masonry and water should never mix, but that's the way the ground was sloped. So what to do? This involves a lot of earth moving, but they re-sculpted the land so that the land slopes away from the house and the water goes to the rain garden and then soaks in. So here it is, just baby, just planted, and then it grows up and the tree is bigger and the blue lobelia is blooming. It can be really beautiful and no more water in their basement. By the way, while I'm talking about rain gardens, think of your hardest rain garden question, like the thing that you've always wondered about rain gardens, because I love the hard ones. You should bring those hard questions. Okay, so here's another one where the water was getting on the sidewalk, which was annoying this couple. And they already had trenched in their downspouts, so it went to a pop-up in their yard. That's the green device there. And the water would overflow and go onto the sidewalk and create ice. They were annoyed. But it doesn't take that big of a rain garden to solve that problem. Here's the rain garden. The water goes into the rain garden. Basically, the pop-up is exactly the same spot, but the water goes into the garden, soaks in, and doesn't go to the sidewalk. So this is just a glamour shot here of rain garden. So build a beautiful one. I mean, the garden should be beautiful, right? Why not make yourself happy? Ooh, here's a good one. So this master rain gardener, these were not built by me. These are all built by cool people like you who build rain gardens, and they have the most creative ideas. So this gentleman built the rain garden at his church, and so it captures the water from the parking lot. So it's a pretty big parking lot. It's a church, and then the strip rain garden takes that water and soaks it in because this was built before we had stormwater regulations. So the stormwater from this parking lot was just, not going, not being treated at all. It's just not going to a detention basin, just going straight to our stormwater system. How can you learn more? Well, you can always take the Master Rain Gardener class, but we also have a Master Rain Gardener Facebook group. It's called Master Rain Gardener in Facebook. And if you join, you can ask questions, you can take pictures of your yard and say, where should I put it? Do all those sorts of things. And the alumni, the Master Rain Gardener alumni there will answer your questions. They're really very nice. It's a nice little friendly corner of the internet. I love, so this is just, to broaden your mind. Actually, are there any questions, like hard questions about rain gardens? Can I ask, Geneva?
Well, we've got a question about salt from water softener backwashing, and I know that salt from road wash off is also a big problem, so speak on that.
That's a good one. I like it. Okay. So salt from a water softener or salt from the road, those are big problems because if it's too salty, then especially our native plants don't like it as much. There are more salt tolerant plants, and then you can also start getting into plants that grow on the ocean shorelines, and they're pretty salt tolerant. But before you go there, look at the place where the water softener outlets and just look, is anything growing? Are there weeds? If weeds will grow there, native plants will grow there. You just have to pick the right ones. But if nothing grows there, it is a dead zone. Probably a rain garden won't work. But that's a good question, and I'm glad you're bringing it. More hard questions, people, bring them.
We've got a how big is too big and how close to the foundation is too close sort of theme here.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked about the foundation. You should be at least 10 feet away from your house foundation, especially from a basement or crawl space. Either one of those, you want to be at least 10 feet away. And what was the first part of the question?
Is there a point where a rain garden is sort of too big and you want to scale it down for manageability?
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to build a garden that's too so big that you can't manage it, that you can't weed it. It's always best to start small. Even a small rain garden will be doing good and it will capture maybe a quarter, maybe half of the rainfalls. That's good. That's great. And also, if it looks great, your neighbors are more likely to do it too. So you're doing good in the world. That's all good. Then, when you have more time, if you want to make it bigger, that's a great way to approach it. There's also, and we teach this in the Master Rain Gardener class. Generally, we teach that the garden should be about 20% of the area of the roof or the driveway or whatever's draining to this rain garden. That will capture about 85% of the rainfall. So, but you could capture more, you could capture less. Like it's kind of a flexible guideline. So only bite off what you can chew, I would say.
And
All right,
speaking from experience with my rain garden, I broke two rules. Mine is a little too small and it's very close to my foundation, but because I'm on a slab and I have no basement, the hydrology works there. So I think there's a lot of ways to tailor and customize and sort of feel out the rules. And with advice from Susan and the other master rain gardeners, you can make sure that you've got a solution that works for your space. Could you give us some like top 3 or 5 powerhouse plants? Like they're versatile, they can work well in multiple kinds of rain gardens, or like they're a go-to favorite.
yes, and let me show some photos just because rattling off some names doesn't necessarily mean a lot to people. Betsy Lindsay built her rain garden from her garage. And you can see it's pretty close to that garage. Is she following the 10-foot rule? Let's look. Well, just like Geneva said, her garage doesn't have a basement, so she can be a little closer. It's okay. All right, let's look at her rain garden. That's the next spring. It filled with water. She panicked. She sends me this photo. It's okay. That's what should happen in a rain garden. You can even see the little blue flag iris are poking up already. They're actually very happy. And that's one of the powerhouse plants, I would say. And there it is. It's not blooming right there, but blue flag iris, Iris virginica, is a great rain garden plant. Oh, it is blooming. Wait, there's one little cute little bloom right there. Iris virginica is a great rain garden plant. I would say it's number one. It is the most reliable rain garden plant in our palette. Let's see. Ooh, and there's Scarlett Bennett right there with her rain garden. Your rain garden could be Geneva. Is your rain garden on my map?
It sure is, although it's had a couple years to grow now, so I'll have to take some fresh pictures this summer.
Oh yeah, send them to me and I'll update. Nice. Let's see if we can talk about more plants here. Okay, oh, it's still doing that. That's weird. My computer's doing weird things. Um, I do have pictures of plants, so I'll circle it back around when we can see them because it's a little bit more. But the number one plant is definitely Iris virginica, blue flag iris. Amazing plant. Looks great. 3 seasons out of the year. Will grow in really, really dry, super wet. I see it growing on the edge of the Huron River. Great, great plant. So rain gardens really take like our old way of thinking is that rainwater, let's just get rid of it. It's a waste product and turning it into something. I mean, of course a garden needs water. It's good for the garden, it's good for our plants. Wow, does that look weird to you like it looks to me? Okay, if you're on a lake though, where do you put this rain garden? So you can see on the left is the car, the house, maybe some lawn, you want some area to run around and have the grandkids have play. Still on that upland area, that's where you want to put the rain garden because you are protecting your lake from pollution by building a rain garden in between. The rain garden is the powerhouse. It is protecting the lake from any sort of runoff that might be happening from your roof or from like gravel driveways and things like that. The rain garden is there to protect your lake. So that's where you want to put it. And then here are the rules, if you can read them. Number one is 10 feet away from the house. There's a lot of other rules here. In general, I would say don't make it too deep. That's the other one. So it should really only be like 3 inches deep, 4 inches deep, no deeper than that. The rest is all good. And we have the Master Rain Gardener Handbook, which has all the rules. But looking at these rules, what is the rule that Kay Wilson and Dan Barry broke on their rain garden next to the lake?
We've got some guesses for too close or not a good overflow option.
Ooh, oh, ooh, someone knows something. So yes, it's too close to the house. What is he thinking? But he's actually an architect, and I think he did number one, they don't have a basement there. Number two, he did some kind of fancy protection with rubber and underground barriers and things like that, which that's not for us non-architects to do. But so yes, too close to the house. And if I'm sure when I discussed it with him, I was like, hey, this is too close to your house. And he had, reasons why it was going to be okay. And it's your yard. You can do what you want. And the second one, not a good overflow. Not a good overflow. Ooh, okay, that's a good one. Let's talk about the overflow. So, a rain garden is going to fill up and it's going to overflow at least 15% of the time. Like if you do it 20% and you're capturing 85% of the rains, that's going to happen on the regular. Every year it's going to do that. So, making that overflow into a safe place, that's very important. And it's okay if it goes towards the lake. It's going to go all the way through the grass and, that kind of stuff. Plus, you've already done your work. The rain garden has already done its work. It's okay. But yes, ooh, I like it. Good work, people. So let's talk about both those things when we look at Denise's rain garden here. Denise Held, here's her. She did this garden during the Master Rain Gardener class, did her own design. This is her design. She's digging it, and it has 2 stepped pools. Now we're getting into advanced stuff here. You can see that the water pools here, and then it overflows, and then it pools here. She plants it, some with plants that she already had in her garden that she just transplanted. She bought some plants from a native plant nursery, planted them all, ta-da! And then the rain garden grows. So this is the next spring, looking beautiful. We've got iris, we've got columbine. It's interesting, this garden, now that I think about it, as it evolves, becomes more and more native plants. It's interesting. Here's the next summer, and that's the native penstemon. You can see our prairie dock in the back there, but there's also Asiatic lilies. Don't tell anyone. It's okay. I love this photo because look at how parched that grass is. It's a hot day in the middle of July. The grass is parched, and the rain garden looks great. Number one, because it's adapted to wet, dry, but also any little rain that lands on the roof waters the garden. My lazy gardener heart is happy when I see stuff like that. And then later she ended up building this little wall just to make it look pretty. The garden looks great. All right, so gardens grow. And I only have a little bit of time left. Let me make sure I talk about other things here's the Master Rain Gardener class, masterraingardener.org. Feel free to take it. It's lovely. We have fun, nice people, good food. We have lots of fun. If you're in the area, I'm from Washtenaw County. If you're in this area, get on our email list. We're going to have rain garden tours. We're going to have plant swaps. It's going to be great. All right, so let's talk about other things you can do besides rain gardens. Notice how I took like 20 minutes for rain gardens, and we're going to have like 5 minutes for all the other stuff because it's not as fun. But that's okay. It's still good. If you are replacing your driveway, that's the moment to think, okay, what permeable surface could I put there instead? And in general, for like a driveway, it's pavers, permeable pavers. And they're made in a way so that the water can go in between them, soak into the ground. There's a gravel layer underneath, and then it soaks in. This works great. Here it is at the University of Michigan. But if you're on clay, if you have clay soil, this does not work. So keep that in mind. But it's a wonderful, you can have all these beautiful patterns, and it really protects your lake. Another way is just to depave. All the pavement that's there, remove it. So here's an example of a rain gardener, actually, who ended up putting in a rain garden, but he took up some asphalt. They bought the house and they had a bunch of asphalt there that he didn't really want anyway. So took up that asphalt. I think they rented a jackhammer. It's good times, right? And then planted it. And now they have a space that's beautiful for their family to hang out in. That's a fire pit in the middle. And um, yeah, just a place for the result is a beautiful backyard for people. Rain barrels, I'm sure you've heard of. I have opinions about rain barrels. I love this connection where when you winterize it, you just take off that hose. See the little green hose that connects the downspout? In the downspout there, there's like a little cup that will take some of the water, not all the water, but take some of it and put it into the rain barrel. Because the amount of water that falls on your roof will overwhelm any rain barrel. It fills up so quickly. And so having just a little bit of it go to the rain barrel means the rain barrel doesn't overflow as much. I like that better than this connection where all the water goes into the rain barrel and then the rain barrel needs to overflow safely somewhere and they have to manage that. This is not, it still works. It's not as good. Also notice both these people put their rain barrel up, which means that they have water pressure. If they attach a hose or they just want to fill up a watering can with their rain barrel, they can do that. So having it elevated really makes the whole thing. Otherwise, you have to dip water out the top to use it, and that's just a lot more work.
As we're looking for some photos, I just wanted to read out the answer to a question about muskrats. Someone had asked about muskrats moving into naturalized areas, and Eric Calabro responded that, yeah, when you make a habitat, sometimes animals want to use it, which is, both a good thing and it can be a nuisance. So Eric recommended trapping the muskrats if they're causing a lot of damage, and sometimes your local drain commissioner might have a list of trappers that they use. And I also wondered if anyone had thoughts about Canada geese in natural areas. Ooh, I'm going to table that because we've got some plants here. I would rather
Ooh,
learn about
Canada
some
geese,
specific
though.
plants.
No, let's talk Canada geese.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do
Plant.
we do to deter goose activity on lake shores? I see Eric coming back online.
We can plant plants, right? So like geese are grazers. They like, picking at grass and picking at in farm fields and things like that. And they like having long sight lines. So planting plants along the shoreline kind of obstructs those long sight lines so they feel like, predators may be coming. So having anything other than grass is going to help that. Um, and it also, especially along your shoreline, if you're planting plants, it kind of, geese don't like to hustle through, a dense vegetated area like that either. So that kind of deters them from moving in and out of the water as well.
So
Always
Eric's
finding compelling reasons to get rid of our lawns and plant
Yeah,
more
that's right.
exciting things instead.
there's that wild iris looking cute. And the white flower around it, just not to ignore it, is the Canada anemone, which spreads like crazy, which sometimes is great. Sometimes you want that, but sometimes you don't. So that's what it is. Sensitive fern, I think, is also one of the top, I'd say top 5, especially if you have a shade rain garden. It's great. And then there are plants for sun, which I would say my top prairie dock was in Denise Held's garden. It looks like elephant ears. If you think about that house plant with the huge leaves, there's a native plant that looks like that. If you wanted to pretend like you're in Florida, you could plant prairie dock because it has these massive leaves and it's very tropical looking. I think maybe swamp milkweed, the upper right there. Also, it's a host for monarch butterflies. That would be a good one as well. So those are at least top 3. We have blue flag iris, sensitive fern, prairie dock, and swamp milkweed. So that's where I'm stopping. That's my top four.
Then I will say, I think my fifth one to your list would be the purple coneflower, which is my ever favorite. And someone had asked if you can do a rain garden in the shade, and yes, absolutely. You just have to choose your plants a bit strategically.
Yeah, sensitive fern will be your
Mhm.
friend. Or if you don't want to pay for plants, get ostrich fern. Your neighbor will give it to you.
So we do have just a couple more minutes. There are people with specific questions like, what can I do for this site? Or how can I find plants to meet these criteria? What are some recommendations for where they might get that kind of specific advice?
Absolutely. In the Master Rain Gardener Handbook, which I can put in the chat, or if you have it at your fingertips, Geneva, you could do it too. We have a plant list, and they are divided by sunlight. So whatever sunlight you have, you can pick from that list. Then I would say cross off the ones that are too tall for you, because I feel like that's what you don't want too tall in a garden if that's not what you want. If you want tall, you want tall. But if you don't want tall, you don't want tall. And then just shop, just, be like, well, I have these 10. Which one do I want to plant? That's how you can pick. And then you plant it, and then nature has other opinions. And then you plant more of what actually survived. That's really what happens. But the Master Rain Gardener Handbook will give you all step by step how to measure, how to create a plan to scale, how to pick those plants. All the things are in there.
All right. Thank you. And thank you, Susan. Thank you to all our presenters tonight. This is an excellent evening to learn more about how plants can help us reduce nutrients in our lawns and lakes and other water bodies. So thanks all for joining us. So this is, in case you're wondering, basic information about harmful algal bloom. So we didn't talk too much about the basics tonight because we've covered that in some of our other presentations. You can check out the State of Michigan website, michigan.gov/HABs, for a picture guide. Frequently asked questions about HABs, HABs reports maps, which will start to be updated. I believe it's May, maybe, or April, for this year. Report any possible blooms to algaebloom@michigan.gov and send pictures as well as the location. People will follow up on that. I also wanted to highlight that we've recently updated our Michigan Sea Grant HABs 101 resources page. So this QR code will take you there, or you can just Google HABs 101 resources, Michigan Sea Grant. And it lists a bunch of different resources. So we recently added educational resources. So if you are a teacher or work with youth at all, you might be interested in those as well. You can also find clips to our other presentations that we've done in the past. So if you just want to watch like a 15-minute version of what do I need to know about human health and harmful algal blooms, or how do I identify a harmful algal bloom? Tell me more about that. All those clips are there on the page. We also have a treatment options for small lakes, septic systems, and HABs. So check that out. Also on that page, there's a social media toolkit. So if you are associated with a lake or another group that might be interested in sharing this information, it's great to have that. These are formatted already to the right size for Facebook or Instagram, and they have suggested text as well. So that's a really easy way to spread the word about HABs. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you being here. I know it was a nice night out, so thanks for spending a little bit of it inside with us to learn more about the power of plants.